Yeah, I'm gonna select broadcast and start streaming immediately. That's right. Very quickly going on the YouTube. Let me just find out if I'm audible. Okay, we have audio. We have audio, we have video, we have basically everything we would ever want or and slash need. I'll just collapse this, make sure it's on live chat instead of top chat, because YouTube likes to actively sabotage anyone that tries to do anything ever at all. And excellent. Okay, so this is a stolen idea, kind of. A little bit stolen, and I'm just gonna clean up the sketch a little bit, and then we're gonna get on to trying to figure out what this should look like in terms of color. It's the basic premise is like a mega structure, a concrete mega structure, and you are at the bottom of that structure, looking like where it meets the sea level, kind of. It's like suspended. That's the part that's stolen. And the idea for the stairs that you can see here, that's kind of stolen, but not really. I've basically just took inspiration, I think is what it's called. However, isn't it more funny if I call it stealing, and then we have a whole hot topic of intellectual property to talk about immediately? Now, if you ask me, I think that is pretty fun. And who doesn't love talking about intellectual property for the 7,000th millionth time? Okay. So the point is that I've got a pretty rough idea of what I want this to look like, and I want to establish kind of I want to better define the geometry before I get to shading, because I haven't quite picked where I want the sun to be coming from, rather. So I'd like to have a rough idea of where I will have light and where I'll have shadow. That's the basics. I think that's pretty reasonable, if you ask me, of course. Of course, I would say that. Okay, so like, I should also mark kind of on this, maybe with like a dashed line, where this actually meets the sea, in order to figure out what is happening. So like, this whole business here, I want basically there to be like these 2 points. So it's like an arc from one and an arc from the other, kind of like this. And then how do they actually connect is kind of beyond me. I have not thought this one through that hard, I'm gonna be real. But we can split them into separate kind of like concrete planes, maybe. So like have them a little misaligned? No, actually wait, this makes complete sense. Never mind, we're fine. It's a little complicated. Gotta say, it's a little complicated. So it's basically like that, and then this is like one sheet that goes down and then goes in the water. And then this is like a second sheet that ends like around here. And then this gets expanded into this like funny vertical thin beam. And then that connects to the wall. That's kind of the idea behind this. I think it's decently constructed. Like it functions. I think what I'll do is I'll add a bunch of helper lines that will not necessarily be visible or like taken into direct consideration later, but nonetheless they're going to help me figure out what the hell I want this scene to look like. So I like this this sort of business. I'd like it to end somewhere over here maybe, and then we basically have this, so this is going to be like a walkway, and then in the back we have a cut off, like cut off, I don't know, something like this. Now this kind of matches up with the foreground here, so maybe we'll just adjust the foreground so it doesn't. How about that? I think that's a pretty good trick, good plan. And we can adjust this so it's a little... Because like, what is that? Oh, that's just a wall. Never mind, it's fine. I confused myself for a little bit. Okay, let's not forget about flipping, because this line, for example, not very horizontal. I'm gonna be real and honest. This is not a horizontal line. We did not nail drawing that horizontal line. Do these lines need to be horizontal? Kinda, maybe, parentheses, question mark. Maybe. Not sure. Maybe they should be. Sorry, I got distracted. Alright. Let's try that, maybe. This is a little better. Something like this. And this can be like 1. And we want to make this curve a little less harsh. Like we want it to resemble... The basic idea is kind of like you would carve a ball, like cut out a ball-shaped hole. And that's the kind of thing I want this to resemble. Hopefully, if I can manage. Okay, that's not too bad. That's not too bad, said a man trying to convince himself that it wasn't too bad. Maybe like this? Yeah, I kind of like this. I like this more than I like the other idea that I had that previously, so we'll keep it like that, and I'll maybe... This is supposed to be like a tunnel, and then in that tunnel you can see kind of deep in there another circular hole, but I feel like it's kind of not visible where the geometry actually is, so maybe I'll let this be for now and not fill it in, and I'll figure that out later. Yeah, now this pipe is kind of important because it's like a big landmark that kind of ties this together. It's like I want there to be a pipe, and I want it to go like into the concrete around here. That's basically the idea. I can have it kind of segmented just to indicate that it is indeed a solid pipe cylinder type object. We'll probably add some imperfections to it, or maybe like, I don't know, like a handle here and then connect it to somewhere. We'll figure something out at some point. The word some is going to do a lot of heavy lifting for now, while I figure it out. Okay, so like this, because this is where there's going to be the walkway. So like you have a little very shallow kind of stairs placed upon this. I'd like maybe them to be supported like this on one side, because on the other they would be, I'd imagine, attached to the wall, but then on the other we can introduce a little bit of something. So like you would have this basic frame. Made this a little wider. I guess you'd have the frame like this, kind of, and then you'd have like steps in the frame, but this kind of needs to be like this, right? Like you need to actually have the steps. And this should be basically horizontal. It's geometric construction 101, I think. Will bear with me as I figure this out via trial and error, I guess. These would be the stairs. They are kind of janky and wonky, but that's alright. And then you'd have like a horizontal line going to the end there, and then that is kind of the frame. And then this would be supported by like these beams Because like you could split it into segments as well. And then maybe like have a line that goes kind of like that, and then these should connect to that line. And where they connect to the line, we should have like a vertical little support. So this looks vaguely convincing, question mark, as like a construction element. Like holding up this passageway, and then this should be at a harsh angle because of perspective. And I think that's alright. That's constructed okay-ish. Okay. I'm kind of getting the boring parts out of the way, because I think this section that I'm currently trying to like build is the least interesting. It's kind of filler. It's not really, because it all like it has to all come together in one picture, so nothing is really filler. But it's not the main focus. Maybe that is how I'd express it. Okay, so I'd like this to be a little like cut in. Cut in the wall. With the idea being that there's some cables going into this. Oh, and I have this actually extended like that. I kind of like this. Because I have this idea that we've got like these. And then again, a construction line probably. Could I be drawing these with the actual line tool? I could, but where's the fun in that, huh? Yeah, that's what I thought. No answer. That's right. Let's space them out vaguely equally, maybe. A little bit. Oh yeah, and I should probably also figure out, like, keep this consistent somewhat. So like this, and then like this, and then something like that, right? These are the supports for the cables. Then you'll have like a line of pipes, of parallel pipes and cables on top of this. That's going to kind of make for like a whole thing. And then I'd like this to be a turn into a vertical line. So that's a helper line. We'll do something with it later. And then maybe like have a little support on both sides, question mark, something like that. I'm not quite sure. And then basically have some loose cables on this as well. And then all of this like goes into the wall here. And that's the basic premise. And then this wall actually has like a hole in it, which is darker. I think that's cool. I think it's pretty good, if I may so selfishly posit. Alright, so this like AC box, I think I drew it originally too tall compared to how wide it is. It should be more like what I'm doing now, so like trimming a little bit of the top. Just have it curve a little bit down so that it has an actual like box shape, and then give it a nice round that. I'll detail it when at the painting stage. For now, like I gotta remember, this is something I have learned and I'm trying to now remind myself of, is that I don't need to fully detail everything at this stage. This is like a construction. This sketch is more of a like a basic construction and geometry indicators for when I actually end up painting the thing and I want to rely on like where do I place the colors, which shapes in this are important to actually make and maintain. This is like So the sketch is just a tool, effectively. Is what I try and remember, right? That's the idea. Now we can have a little... I have these pipes. I'm not sure if I like this. Like these two pipes going to like two different spots in the wall. And little AC pipes. Maybe? Question mark? It's like... eh. I think these are usually like a grate, but do not need to detail that any further. Like this is gonna be a gigantic flat wall the way I have it currently, which I don't really like. Because just sticking something on the wall like this AC unit doesn't usually quite manage to make the wall interesting. What I could do is I could, because there's gonna be a door. Like this is a door frame, that's the idea. This is like a big hole in the wall that shows you a little bit of the inside as well, and shows you, which is also important, how thick this wall is. Ooh, I kind of like, wait, I kind of like this because it's kind of missing currently, but I kind of like making this wall just go down. And then we can also have like a little bit of a walkway coming down from this, like on this side. Like it goes down. Because the idea is that these stairs, like they are too big on the initial sketch, but they are kind of connected to that window. So I'd like this to also go down, to the door rather. So I'd like this to go down on a kind of similar level, but for it to be on a similar level, it actually has to go down a little bit further. Because this is kind of the angle this goes on, right? But this is like that and like that. That's basically what's going on the inside. So I think this is pretty good, actually. And now you have... yeah, the only problem is going to be that these stairs and these stairs are going to blend together. And I don't like that. How can I prevent that from happening? I could do it like this, maybe. So like this, these stairs kind of level out before those stairs. And then have it be a two-way, like two flights of stairs this way. I think I like this idea. It's just, yeah, let's start by drawing it abstractly and then maybe we'll figure something out in terms of the actual thickness of these. I really like this being a two-way staircase, and I like it being less thick than I've initially made it. But I still want this like window to be like big circle window. But it being like where it actually is on the sketch is kind of good, because it positions it on the wall behind the stairs, which is exactly where I want it to be. And I'd like actually maybe another. So like kind of have... this would be like this. And then maybe the third one is kind of the outlet for the water down below. We're getting somewhere with this, I think. I should have done like these little lines to like indicate basically where this is going. So this is not correct at all. That's fine. It's something like this then. And then this is the water level, and then that is kind of what the thickness of the wall actually should be. So this is way too thin, is what I've done wrong. Kinda, maybe, a little bit. It's okay, I think. It's like acceptable. Mayhaps. I didn't expect this to actually be this fun. I was kind of prepared to like get stuck at a certain moment and just be like, this is so boring. Boo! Where's the Subway Surfers gameplay? But alas, so far it's interesting. Okay, so back to the flat wall issue, right? This whole gigantic thing is a flat wall, and I don't like that I did that. We might need to do something about this. What we could do is we could just extend this to go further and then make a more interesting joint. This is kind of introducing another gigantic flat wall, I guess, and then covering up that, which is the whole point of that is... Because I think what I did is I noticed that this is a big flat wall and have decided to add something to the big flat wall to make it not quite as flat, but that doesn't make the wall more interesting. Like, it kind of will break something up a little bit. It'll just naturally get broken up by the cable. Like, it's not gonna be one big flat wall, but the geometry is still going to be boring, and that is something I like to avoid if possible. Now, if I extend this, which, by the way, this is not correct perspective at all. This is basically should be straight. Like, this is also still a big flat wall. I like this going kind of a little bit down and hanging over the... Because this is not hanging over the port. Like, this guy's not standing under this wall. So that maybe leaves me... Because I've also... Yeah, I've also kind of made that separate. So I have space to work with that. Maybe I'd like to also introduce like a little overhang like this. And then make sure it doesn't blend with the foreground, and then maybe... Do you see the vision? Like, we introduced that there's more to the structure, it's just made out of blocks, so then the front wall being flat isn't quite as big of an issue. Because we actually have more detail behind it in terms of like geometric detail. Could be something. We add this door because it's kind of important for the scene. I'm not sure about this door because I would like it to hint at the thickness of the wall, but then I also would like it to look like a door. This might be something to figure out while I shade this. Maybe it's too early to actually kind of make a point of that. Okay, so now the shape of these stairs at the bottom here is that I'd like them to kind of be... I don't want this to be a 90-degree angle. I want this to be kind of like this. And then maybe have the... I don't want the stairs to go down all along this wall. I'd like them to finish kind of early. Maybe. And then... basically have this kind of pyramid-esque shape to them. So something like this, but the top is actually not correct now. This should be basically flat, because it's basically level with the camera. Well, that's a little bit better slash okay-ish, but I feel like this isn't correct. Should be more like that, maybe. Not quite sure about it. Okay, and then this is like a connected thing that goes up to the platform. And then this... like a kind of courtyard, I guess. A little bit of a flat plane. that connects the whole level together, and you can go down through the stairs, or you can go up through that. And then like, okay, this I'd like to be a little bit of a bigger overhang than I initially made it, and maybe a little bit longer here. It's kind of like this. And this is completely incorrect in terms of perspective. This can't be, like, if it is meant to be something, it can't be that wide. It's like very perspective shortened. Even actually, no, it's straight up in this direction. Like, it's completely, they got the perspective completely wrong. Yeah, and then this is also like a helper line, because this is the water level effectively. Like, water effects are going to be imprecise on purpose, but it's like alright-ish. I think this wall is actually wrong in terms of, like, it's incongruent with that. This is causing an issue. We can use this as maybe a pretext for why this wall should not be boring anymore. So like, what if instead of, because this AC unit is kind of in the way, I'll erase it for now. Maybe I'll just move it. Where's my radial menu? A disaster. Disaster has struck. A radial menu is gone. My mouse is lagging. It's not your stream, it's my mouse actually. For some reason, radial menu just does that. Let's try again. And also for some reason, it takes like 3 tries to actually start it. I am not complaining though, because it cost me 0 money. And it works. When it actually starts up, it works. So like, I can't be complaining too hard. Thank you, creator of that. Ooh, I like this. Overlap it with the corner of this. Make that a little bit less rectangular. Break it up a little bit. I think that's pretty good. Now, with that out of the way, we now gain the ability to make this wall more interesting, because we can have like this. The basic line is like this goes up. And this is flush with that. And then, like, these don't necessarily have to be attached. Actually, we can bring a block out from like here. Can extrude a little block. Oh, we could also have that, because this block used to be here, but it's part of the wall. But what I could do is I could actually make this extrude like that, and then make it kind of plug into this wall. This is very rough and it looks very bad, but I think I can work with this. The basic idea is that this block kind of hangs under the structure in a way, but also okay, like what's the I've not quite figured out what the hell the perspective is actually on this. Maybe I should figure that out sooner than later. Like the point at which these lines actually like merge is kind of somewhere around like this. This is kind of the perspective. Kinda. This probably should be the first thing I instead of doing anything else, I should have figured that out first, but as the kids say it, we ball. Don't worry about it. We'll figure something out and it's gonna look okay-ish. Question mark. Yeah, something like that. I like this block to kind of go all around. And then it can end here maybe. Yep, that's a cool block. And then this actually goes... This is more horizontal, and then this also goes like this. So it's like the wall is flat, but it's no longer flat with this, so this adds a little bit more additional interesting bit, an additionally interesting bit to the geometry. Then we have this, and I was thinking previously of having like an underhang here, which could cast a more interesting shadow as well, because I didn't yet think of that, but there's going to be shadows on this. So like this. Yeah, this is basically like a wall. Maybe. I think that's good enough for geometry. And then we have like the background, which is supposed to be just supplementary to what is going on in the foreground. So like we've got this like ramp thingy with like, these are stairs that go up to a thing. Like two little poles to like give it a little bit of something up there. Not to distract, but to give it something. And then got this at a kind of odd angle. Not sure if this is a good idea at all, but these two are kind of lined up together, so they are like, this goes right and this goes into the depth. That's the kind of idea-ish. However, this wall shouldn't be visible like that, because we see like this wall goes like this inside. We don't see it. It's hidden from our view. So maybe just have it like this. And we also don't see the floor of this level, because this is basically level with the camera. That's the idea, which is incongruent with this, because we see this from a little bit above. So what I should actually do, and this is going to be probably for the better, is I should introduce this like tiny sliver of floor to this that looks a little something like that. And then that tiny sliver of floor can be used to, I don't know, explode, perhaps, presumably. It's pretty good. I sure hope my chat didn't break and I'm not missing any messages, because that would be exceedingly embarrassing. I don't think it is. All right. Hopefully. I don't trust YouTube. I have very reasonably founded trust issues with the platform. I have too many times the chat just broke without any warning. Yeah, this is just basic, like, lights. I think this is gonna look nice, like this little thing, but maybe we should also connect it up. That could look interesting. I mean, this kind of implies that there's a connection through this pole, like in the ground somewhere, but could be an interesting element visually to connect these two up. Maybe? Gate and Lay, hello. You missed out on 70,000 million ponderings of blocks. This is effectively just Minecraft, but with extra steps. I've decided to take it upon myself to make Minecraft into a real thing. If you really think about what I'm doing, it's just basically that. This thing is supposed to have like a little line on it, and then goes like around the thing. I don't know if this looks like a line. I'll leave it like that, but this corner actually is awful. Like if this is supposed to be concrete, we can't be having these very bizarre angles. Minecraft but ultimate control. Indeed, I can make the blocks different sizes and place them anywhere I want. This unlocks infinite possibilities for blocks. You've never quite blocked like this. No matter what happens, it's basically impossible to get to this level of block. Okay, I have a new idea for this. Because I've already... I've been on a big quest, because I used to have a big wall. It's kind of visible if you look at this whole shape, like here. I hope my cursor actually works. If you see like this whole big wall, this was all just one flat surface, and I figured, hold on, that is actually stupid and bad, and we should break it up. That's been my quest for the past several minutes. Is I've been trying to figure out how to break that up a little bit. What could I do? I could incorporate... I could actually... Hold on, I kind of like this idea now. I extend this wall as well, and then make this big slab. Wait, okay. We are making something happen here. They made Minecraft in real life, and by they, it means me. That's right. Why learn anything complicated to draw when you can just draw boxes over and over again? Have you ever thought about that? It's a life hack. Heard it here first. Don't forget to comment and dislike the video for being horrible at humor. Okay, something like this. Ooh, okay, and then keep that little shelf. Okay. This is something. Now, just instead of that, actually have the little shelf go around. So it's like on the wall. And then bring it down all the way there. And then have the corner be... This is like this, and then the corner is somewhere like around here. Okay. I like this. Now it creates like this little pathway, and if I make this... I could maybe even connect these like that. I wonder... Does this look good? Does this look like scribblings of a mentally insane person? Okay. And then this could also be like its own separate block that it's kind of slightly indented. I have no idea what I'm doing. I'm gonna be real. I'm just trying to slap something together so it looks nice. Looks like a drawing. Excellent. And that's a glowing endorsement. I know, but the problem is that all of this and all of these questions of should it look like that, should it look like this, does it look good, does it look bad, it's actually all entirely inside of my own head. And so if somebody from the outside perspective looks at this and it's like, this looks perfectly fine, and it has looked perfectly fine for the last 70,000 changes you've made to it. And I'm like, no. There's such a big difference. Can't you see it? And then a normal person is once again like, no, there's nothing to see. You're just mentally insane. And then I'm like, okay then, maybe you're right. Might be true. This is idiotic. What am I doing? Wake up. this neatly brings me onto a topic I was thinking about recently, which is something we've discussed this before, but maybe I'll just go over it again, or something. Maybe something new will show up. Very epically bassy and bassy, I guess, question mark, in your truck speakers. Excellent. I'm gonna play some dubstep so you can enjoy the speakers, you know? I'll not actually do that. I'll spare you the dubstep. Yeah, the topic is basically, maybe it's not, maybe the problem isn't reality, maybe the problem is expectations. And it's something I have been thinking about in many ways, because a lot of my quote-unquote big discoveries in life, a lot of them are not particularly like groundbreaking, mind-blowing change in my perception of the world. It's more like the way things have been explained to me made me expect some kind of fireworks, whether it be related to faith or like other things. Emotion comes to mind as another thing. It's like the way you see people talk about it and the way people generally approach it, it makes it seem like a big deal. So you set yourself up, at least I have, you set yourself up, you set your expectations that, well, this is so important, then surely something big is going to happen. Like, there's going to be some kind of something that'll let me know that the state before and the state after is significantly different, and something substantial has changed, and now we are in the post that thing reality. And what has been my experience is that life is way closer to the nothing ever happens meme, in that any happening that that actually happens is not enough to be classified as something that actually happened, and so nothing ever happens, you know. Sounds like processing disappointment? Yeah, perhaps. I mean, it is, right? It is, because that is exactly what happens when you have very high expectations for certain things that are not just like, if your expectations balloon, then you set yourself up for disappointment, or if the expectations are not built by you, then somebody else sets you up for disappointment. Exactly. So it is exactly that, right? It's like you're coming to terms with, at least, well, I'm coming to terms with things not being what I expected, but then I take from that a lesson for the future, as in, what do I do? What do I do from this point? And it's like, it's not do not have expectations, but rather, well, like I generally just do not expect big, gigantic, groundbreaking, whatever the hell, out of pretty much anything. Because I find that rarely, if ever, actually materializes. Things just don't happen that way. There's not a gigantic, groundbreaking pivot and suddenly everything is completely different. Even the things that feel that way, even if there is a certain like earthquake, it's not like things change immediately, because basically everything in life has inertia on some level. And so even if you had a very, very important and significant change in mindset, it's going to take time for your life to adjust. And because it takes time, then that once again kind of dulls the initial impact. Like, you set on to change, but because change takes so long, when you've changed, like the nothing ever happens. We are so back. The only times I think where that kind of maybe, I don't know, catharsis or like this kind of big change feeling actually can come to pass is when you look back effectively. So it's never in the moment. It's never in the, well, it's sometimes in the moment, right? I don't know. You've been losing a lot of weight, and at the end of it, you are, I don't know, you started at like 350 pounds, and you're able to run like a marathon or something, and you finish that, and you realize just how much of an accomplishment it is compared to where you were, and maybe then there's kind of a, like that triggers a kind of big wave of emotion effectively, and there actually are some fireworks to it. Because it's an event that's kind of set up that way for it to, like, like maybe you build the expectation there, but then I'd imagine you still get surprised in a way, and that's part of it. It's like the biggest the biggest surprises, I think, come usually where you actually don't expect it, and as well, it's a surprise, right? It's something that just comes to you and generates big emotion, I guess. Do I celebrate my wins? I don't know, you could say it, maybe. I don't know, I'll go get a kebab from time to time when something's happened, but I don't know, I don't really feel very compelled to. I don't know, maybe this is over-intellectualization, maybe I'm getting lost in abstraction, but like, I understand the importance of it to accent that, oh, something has been done, but I am generally so swamped with work, I just get to the next thing over and over again. And it's not, I don't see it as a bad thing, because it's not like, this is not making me unhappy, or like, it's not making me feel like I'm wasting my time, or that nothing ever gets done, because all of the things I do, I know they are good things. But it's never like this, it's never done. Nothing's ever done. We run maintenance, we upgrade, we make fixes, and we work on more and more things. And it's like, it's never this, you know, done moment. It helps alleviate the nothing ever happens. I'm not really saying that nothing ever happens. I don't... Maybe I'm expressing myself wrong, but it's once again about expectations. It's... I don't know, maybe it's just me being weird, because I've never really... I don't think I've ever really experienced things that strongly. Or maybe... and that's kind of the point I'm going back again and again. It's like, either I'm not experiencing it that strongly, or I expected some kind of firework that just isn't real. Like the change nothing ever happens with disappointment. Well, it's because I wouldn't say I'm disappointed in some of the things. Like, I don't know, like, we finish things, I'm not disappointed that there wasn't a big firework, because I don't expect a big firework, because, like, I can do something myself, and I do. You know, I give myself a little break, I do something to like, chill. Maybe go, like, buy myself something to celebrate, you know, that kind of things, but then it still remains that I know that I did that. So I understand it's important to work with your own system, with your own body, with your own psychology for these things. But even then, once again, matter of expectation, right? If you expect that it's just going to happen, then it's not going to actually happen. Like it doesn't do itself. The reaction. I've already been disappointed so much that I don't bother to have expectations. It's not about getting rid of all expectations. It's about what your expectations actually are. It's like I know that, and it's for me maybe it's like a weird way to express it, but for me it's this is exactly where the idea of celebrating your wins like starts. That it's like you realize consciously that, oh wait, if I do things and I finish them, there's a lot of the time there's no natural big firework moment that like really hits me that I've done it and I finished and it's done and it's completed. So then I set it up myself, consciously I set it up for myself, so there is that moment, so the accent is there, so that I remind myself of what has happened, because it just doesn't happen on its own. At least that's how I see it, right? I don't know if I'm expressing myself clearly. It's like celebrating it and making sure that you have this like additional point and you linger on it a little bit is separate from expecting that to just happen naturally. Is maybe I am getting about it in the like most backwards way possible, but so it's like if you, and that's generally been, in terms of expectations, that has been something that I've generally, I don't know if this is a sign of the times, maybe it was different before, like for earlier generations or whatever, but I do think that a lot of the expectations I had for things that just happen, like something will just happen in many ways, or like there will be some kind of reaction, etc., etc. A lot of those things are just simply not true, and things don't just happen. And I don't know if that, you know, it used to be the way that people, I don't know, other people maybe do feel it naturally, or maybe if the environment was different and I don't know, there was less dopamine poisoning from the internet, it would feel different and be different. I don't know what the cause is, I don't know what the reason is, because that is a very complicated analysis to actually perform and figure out, a lot of variables to consider, but whatever the state is at the moment, it's like this doesn't happen by itself. So if you want it to actually work properly, you probably should get rid of the expectation that it is going to happen by itself, and then take care of it so it actually happens and you get the benefits. And then you also don't get disappointed when it doesn't happen by itself as well, which is also a positive. Your mileage may vary. Vary? Surely vary, because vary is a different word. Should be at the end of everyone's statements about what you will experience. I think so. Maybe it's also a matter of I didn't understand it, because people say a lot of things about experience. This might be just rewording what you've said, but people talk about a lot of different things, and that I think there's a lot of expectation that gets said that way. It's like you hear people talking about how they feel about certain things, or like how they experience it. And there's also a certain bias in that you will hear the most about this kind of way of processing, I don't know, emotion and experiences from the people who experience and process it the most strongly and in the most vocal ways, because those are the people that are most likely to actually talk about it. If you have someone who doesn't like feel much, or it doesn't have like a direct big firework kind of moment that is very obviously like easy to name and point to, then that person is probably not going to be very eager to actually talk about that experience, because Very and very are pronounced the same. Excellent. Thank you, English. Very cool. And it's not like I don't at all intend this to be some kind of like, I don't know, oh, I was so wronged and people gave me the wrong idea, blah 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 blah, because it's complicated and you never know what your words actually land like to another person. You only have so much control on it, like of it. It's like a thought slash reflection on like maybe, yeah, I was just thinking about it. It's basically it's basically what this is. I was considering, I was pondering, if you will, a little bit. I do find it interesting because that is in the sphere of things we just don't actually know about other people. We can kind of describe it with words. We have like certain concepts. We have like certain mechanisms. We maybe can name it. Some people express it in certain ways. But this is something we do not actually have access to in anyone. We don't know what it is like to experience the world from another person's perspective. So we end up with some kind of approximation, and then like however much stock you put into it, it's very easy to put too much stock into it, I think, due to that, because we just don't know. And before you realize it, because that's ultimately the truth about it, is that we don't know a lot of these things. And the more confident you have people stating certain things to you, and the more kind of, because I understand the importance of having certain norms, and also like it's part of culture as well, how you convey and how you deal with those things, and how you build, what expectations you build in like your kids or whatnot. It's part of culture and it's also important. But then on the other hand, it's like you are going to kind of have to figure it out on your own, as in you have your body and your brain to work with, and your kind of unique perspective. There's like certain things about it are going to be unique to you. Certain things are going to be similar to other people. There's a lot of variables there to consider. It's like, yeah, as you said, your mileage may vary on that. I'm a very naturally emotional person. Reading between the lines a little about this point. Maybe. I don't know, I often feel like I'm trying to figure out emotion completely backwards from how people, because I think usually people feel a lot of emotion and then they kind of figure the way around it. Like they feel things very directly and very in that kind of like tangible, well, as tangible as it can be, I guess. And they kind of have to find the way around, like feel that, feel the other, feel 7 different things, and you kind of feel all of them, and you kind of have to figure out what to do with them and how they actually relate to one another, and how to arrange them and how to live with them. And I feel like I'm coming at it from the opposite perspective, where like I have to think really hard to figure out what I feel. If that makes any sense. Like it does. Like I don't know, I'm stressed out, I guess. That's I can tell when I'm stressed out, right? I can tell when I'm happy / hyped, sure. Not much subtlety in not much subtlety in any of those. And a lot of things just manifest as, oh, I'm exceptionally tired and I can't focus. Let's figure out what the hell is causing that, maybe, because it's a little annoying. I don't know. I'm not particularly mad at it. I find it interesting. So I think, like, from my general experience with people, I think I am not. I don't think that's the ordinary human experience. I'm gonna say that. I think people usually don't have that, although maybe that is also something that this is a thought that I've been also having with kind of faith-based topics is, and I noticed it with myself as well, that I had a period where I had a very hard time because I was like, wait, like we're using all these words with regards to spirituality and whatnot and all these other things. It's like there's a lot of words that I just don't have any meaning for, so I have no idea what these concepts actually mean. So then when somebody comes to me and starts talking about it and starts using these words, I'm like, I have no idea what you're talking about because it's too detached from what I actually know, the layer of what I know and the layer of what you are talking about. I don't have a bridge between the abstraction and the concrete that I actually know. But then over time, the more I actually understand the concepts and the more the better I actually am able to use the language as well, and the more meaning I have behind it, the better it becomes to actually use. So then I see myself going kind of in the position of the other person, where I might start talking using language that to me is obvious, but to other people on the ground who don't have the shared context, they will not understand it. And I completely forgot where that thought came from. Whoops. Oh, I know. So it's like the idea is that, you know, people might have already figured some things out in their own life and in their own experience, and they describe it using language that to me just sounds alien. But if I end up figuring it out and assigning my own meaning and understanding what that actually means and translating it to what that looks like for me, then I might end up on the other end of it, where, you know, I'll understand the language. I'll now understand the language, but I will then maybe have trouble relating it to another person like me now, who doesn't have the framework, and the cycle begins anew. I guess we can't escape the cyclical nature of history. It's just, it do be like that sometimes. You just hashtag just human things, I think. It's like you... This isn't ordinary, but also a known experience. Okay. It's called autism. Lol. Ha. I should stop interrupting myself in the middle of thinking. It doesn't... Logicking your way through emotion. Life on hard mode. Maybe? I don't know. I think it's just different problems. It's alternative mode. I've clicked on the alternative game mode category and I've queued into payload race. I guess. It's just different. Comes with its own problems and probably like doesn't include a bunch of problems that you would normally have if you... Yeah. It's different. I had a thought, and I don't have the thought anymore. I should just have... Can we... Yeah, I should replace my brain with a robot that remembers things better. Like my... I think the science TM is working on figuring out how to give humans like a micro SD slot. I could really use that. I could really, I wouldn't be opposed to having a micro SD slot. Actually, I would be, but you get the point. The point is, I'm having trouble remembering what the hell I was talking about 7 seconds ago. It's truly a beautiful day. Now, in my defense, it's also late, but is that a defense? I don't know. We'll let the jury decide and hope they don't send me to jail. I'm gonna cheat a little bit here and extend the stairs up there so that it better matches the bottom. Volatile memory, download more RAM. Oh yes, that's right. Just yeah, download more RAM.com, but you plug your brain into it. I see no possible problems that could come from this solution whatsoever at all. I think we're going to be good. I think, I don't know, Elon Musk, that's right. He's going to figure it out. If I let anyone install a RAM, what's it called? RAM stick slot in my brain, it's going to be Elon. Thank you, Elon. Very cool. Melon-usk. I feel like these stairs look completely messed up. You feeling me? You see this line? It's completely busted and stupid and wrong and bad, and I'm going to get fired from my drawing job. This would be devastating to my finances if it wasn't for the fact that it's completely unpaid. This is why you should have a hobby, because if you get fired from your hobby, actually nothing happens. You might even save money, in fact, if you get fired from your hobby, because you'll stop spending it on 70,000 things that you definitely need. Very important. Like, for example, this $7 million drawing tablet, or this newest Apple device that is so good for drawing that basically you will never have to draw anything again, because it'll just do it yourself. Do it itself, sorry. For free, forever. We had this guy in like a sweater advertise it. It's such a cool ad. I have no idea what I'm saying. So yeah, with regards to that whole figuring out like expectations, etc. Basically the whole point I'm getting at with that is, for me, and maybe it is because the experience is like known but unusual, it's taken me a while to figure out that, like, I just don't work like that. I think that's effectively, because it's not really anything, it's just a statement of fact, I guess. It's like, I don't know, like, that's not what that's not how I function. Like, I've tried it, I've given it a shot, it doesn't happen, and therefore I should pay more attention to, you know, knowing things and then doing good things based on what I know to be good, more than trying to rely on certain intuitions, or like wanting things to kind of happen, or whatnot. It's just no. It's like, no, you should actually take care of that. Well, you, and by you I mean I should. Which is a weird way of speaking, but I should really take it into account and just adjust accordingly, effectively. And I think in the long run as well, it's if I ever get to meet/talk to other people who also like have a similar kind of experience / approach, lifestyle, I don't know what you'd call it, then I'll have something to say to them, which is also nice. It's like, hey, check it out. Things don't just happen. I was like, whoa, I thought nothing ever happens only applied to me. But there's a second person for whom it doesn't, nothing ever happens. We can now both think about how many millions must die together. It's a beautiful day. I also had a second topic. Maybe I'll remember it at some point. It could happen. The word is temperament. Yeah, that tracks. You're right. It's funny, I thought I used to be... I think in childhood, and maybe that's just what happens when you're a child. I think in childhood I was much more like emotional / impulsive. And that just ended at some point, I think. I just got out of puberty and just... that was that. Brain was like, okay, yeah, we're done with that. We had enough. It was you had your share of being really impulsive and whatnot. We are now going to be chill, and then it truly was like that. So like earlier when I would put myself much more in the like active and like exclamation mark temperaments, but now I think I'm fairly mellow. I'm mellow to the point where I surprise myself with it sometimes. It's also not a... Surely it's not a bad thing. Surely I'm legally allowed to be mellow. Maybe, you know, one day I'll get really tired and then on all form of like when I get, you know, tired enough to the point where I'm not able to control myself and the actual base temperament comes out, you know, maybe then it'll turn out that the whole time I was actually just pretending. And then the world, including me, will be in great shock. And I'll have to figure out some way to deal with that. But for now, it didn't happen. Likely land at some point that being emotive didn't serve you. I mean, it didn't, because I was stupid. Like, it doesn't... Well, it's not emotive, right? Because acting like being out of control effectively is what doesn't serve you. It's not emoting or acting emotional at all. Like, what doesn't serve you is when you just let go. Like, you go into rage or whatever. Or, like, lose control, but being emotive just usually helps you relate to it, like helps convey to other people the message you actually have to say to them. And it is quite important because especially for people that are more or less vibes based, for those people, if you present your message unemotionally and you don't have a certain tint to it, certain emotional tint, like you are fake / a robot / what's the word, over intellectualized. That's right. You're learning emotion backwards. I'd say that makes you unemotional. Maybe I don't know, maybe. I'm not opposed to it. I don't view it as an insult. It's descriptive. I think, because for a long... I do remember that, like, in teenager years, like childhood, I was, like, there was a lot of push towards... It's like, okay, you should be in control of your emotion, and you should strive to present yourself unemotionally, and because that, if you want to solve problems and if you want to get better at things, you want to do that by being in control of it. I remember that. It's a clinical description. Yeah, don't worry. There's nothing funnier than telling somebody that they are acting irrationally and then the reaction is them getting irrationally angry at you, which is only vaguely related, but my brain has connected the two. It's just, it is what it is. And I'm not very... like, at the end of the day, pretending that it do not be like that, what's the point? It's also... I don't know, like, I don't have a big final point or, like, overall something to say about it, really. It's just kind of pondering / rambling about whatever. It'll surely come in handy, because having these things kind of... I like having these little streams from time to time, because they help me just lay some things into words, and usually that comes in handy later. Basically any conversation I have comes in handy later at some point, because I figure out, you know, it's different when you think, it's different when you say things to yourself, it's different when you try to articulate them for other people. And you realize that maybe you are taking too big of a leap, like expecting people to follow you where they will basically have no way of following, because there's just a lot of missing context. It's like just doing a little bit of thinking, maybe. Exploring the thought. Yeah, there you go. Beautiful. Thank you. You put it into a nice name. I accept that. Very good. Can we give this guy a medal? Give him an award of some kind. That just really reminds me of the... There's been like a meme where... do you ever notice that streamers tell their mods, like call their mods like a medieval like lord would call upon the guard, or like, you know, command the peasants? It's like, mods, get this guy a medal, put this guy in jail, have his I don't know, something of his revoked or whatever. Only problem, I don't have mods, so I guess I'll do it myself. I'll be the Johnny. I'll medal. I'm kind of a fraud for this stream, if I'm honest, because I titled it Painting Stream, and all I've done is sketch, which I don't think qualifies as painting. Although you could argue that in the whole process of painting, sketching is also a part of that process, and therefore... However, that would be bending the rules a little bit. However, on the other hand, who made the rules, and why should we follow them? And on that topic, what is good and how do we know it? This is a Pandora's box of autism. It's like once you go there, you kind of... You don't really return. It just keeps going. Wait, this is here. What am I doing? My brain has did something in the meantime. I don't know, this area is I'm gonna say. I don't like it. Something is wrong with it. Not quite sure what. Maybe the perspective's wrong. Just bad. Maybe something else. Maybe yeah, this is like too low. I don't know. Perspective's complicated, but I've decided to make it even harder for myself by not using any kind of helper or line tool, which it's a decision I am questioning a little bit. But we can chalk it under personal improvement, which is what you can chuck a lot of things under, actually. It's a very useful category, because if you take that approach, basically anything that happens, you can spin into something positive and then cope about it. It's a life hack, in fact. Just anything happens, I have achieved personal development from it, therefore the time wasn't wasted, and therefore it was kind of cool, and etc, etc. Surprisingly effective, actually. I think it's also known as like having a positive mindset. Why do I have so much trouble saying that? Positive mindset. I'd recommend. I think it's kind of cheating, but you know, it's like, it feels like real men should not use such easy ways out of everything. But who am I? I think this is r/life hacks. No, I'm gonna be on Reddit. Ah, horrible thought. Why would you do that? I was uncalled for. Man gets posted to Reddit, regrets it instantly. Pretend I never said anything ever. Why am I tying this like thing to... I'm not sure who would hang this lifesaver like this. I think it makes absolutely zero sense at all. But I kinda like the idea of it being here, because it's gonna look nice on the white wall, with a little bit of color as well. Break up the wall a little bit. So I think ultimately it's a good idea. So because of that, I will completely ignore that it doesn't make any sense, and I will in fact continue with the thing. And maybe, just maybe, at one point or another, I will find the idea. And then we'll backfill it. Boom. Having dinner with friends. Bon appetit, because there's no equivalent in English. Have a good one. I'll probably go to bed soon, because it's approaching midnight, and I'm kind of done with... I like what I've done. Like, I've definitely... Like, it's basically the same thing, but it's more laid out. I've broken up the big wall issue, and there's certainly more definition to it. So yeah, see ya. And I'll probably add the guy here, and then I'll finish for tonight. And we'll get to painting this another time, probably. Maybe tomorrow, maybe not. Bye-bye. And what do I make this guy look like? Ooh, I could give him my favorite, a yellow raincoat. I really like yellow raincoats. A very scenic look to them. I could just put him in that. But it's not raining. It's gonna be sunny, so... So I'm thinking, yeah, it's just something like this. Maybe. Yeah, just give him a little coat. Maybe a little bit of hair, like implied. Imply that there's a little bit of wind going on. How do people stand, you know? You ever ask yourself that question? I do it frequently whenever I have something like this to paint and I feel like any pose I give this guy is going to not feel natural. Like this, who has their arm like this? Like you would normally have it in the pocket, maybe? Maybe he's trying to like do something with it. Maybe just give him like a raised arm. We could try something like this, maybe. I feel like this doesn't quite work for... Maybe we don't actually define the arms. Maybe we just kind of pretend he doesn't have arms. That could be interesting. We could also have the guy look like forward, give him maybe little eyes. And then... Ooh, wait, this actually kind of looks cool, now that I've changed the idea immediately and it kind of works. Let's have that. Maybe? No, this is like too defined. I like the... I kind of like this. I don't know if I want to do anything with it. Maybe the pockets. And maybe give him something like a hat. Or like a very, very over-exaggerated hair. Looking at the water with a little bit of curiosity. No, because that's too intense. Like, I don't want this guy to be this big also. Ooh, we could... You know what we could do? Is we could have this as the kinda... Could have this. And then this is kind of like a separate layer, and that kind of works. Even though this is too defined, I still feel... I don't know. I don't have a good, great plan idea. Maybe I'll leave it for later. a little bit of a cape, and then maybe have a little bit of in honor of the original drawing. This is inspired by, maybe like I would make it a girl with hair. Girls have hair, right? That happens in real life. Maybe. It's not bad, actually. I think we figured it out. I think it's time to go to bed and end the day. Go to sleep. It's not bad. Not bad at all. I think let's disable the background. Yeah, the previous layer. It's very, very big cleanup. I have a better idea. I still haven't really figured out these stairs are missing. I just realized I don't have a very good idea where I want the light to be coming from. I kind of like the idea of having like the sun reflecting maybe here, but that would make the whole thing basically blue and dark, which I'd like it to be. So I think the sun should actually come from like the top right corner and basically be shining on, primarily hitting these walls, like from this kind of angle from above. So then this whole thing would be in shadow, kind of, with like maybe light cutting off somewhere around like this, right? Because it's cut off by that from above, and then so we have primarily hitting this wall and this wall, so slight variation in light on these two. So it's like kind of both are kind of illuminated, and then we can have nice like blue shadows on the bottom, on the underside of these, like on the back side of this pole. This pole should cast a shadow. The pipe should cast a shadow, and then the water can have its own reflections, right? Something like that. And then we also get the nice contrast, because this is going to be here, this is going to be darker, and then we can have the like much darker, this wall should be much darker because there's basically no light hitting it aside from bounce light from around. The concrete is going to be mostly white, so there's going to be a lot of bounce light to work with. And then we have like this kind of brighter but still in the shade because there's no direct sunlight hitting it. And then through that you can also see the sky. Maybe I also introduce like another superstructure in the background as well. Okay, we could have us maybe because there's a little bit of clouds. That's the idea, that there's going to be a lot of clouds. Maybe we could have something like this where, you know, it could maybe hint at what we are actually looking at in the foreground, where there would, if there was like a second gigantic superstructure in the background. And that could also be what the guy's looking towards. Wait, I was supposed to end, but I'm kind of liking this idea, so I'll mark it a little bit so I can figure out later that this is what I thought, because my memory is not the greatest. Sometimes we have issues with that. I could have something like this. It just presents another... I'm not... Shouldn't be in log alpha for this, certainly. Kind of like... I'm getting a little bit of an exploration in brutalist architecture, I guess. By which I mean I'm kind of inventing it myself, because I did absolutely zero research of any kind. I really like this. This adds a lot, I think, to the feel, where there's something in the background there to like give this maybe a sense of scale and contextualization. Although there's also something nice about the emptiness, I think this is even better. I like this. I like this. I think I'll continue. Or maybe I will not. Maybe I'll just lose all interest and it'll never happen. It'll never be finished. Either way is completely fine by me, to be honest. I'm chill about it. It's a hobby. It's fine. We're chilling, I think. Alright, that is going to be it for the stream. The clock has passed midnight. I am about to explode. We can hit nice last look. No, let's reset the rotation. There we go. That's a nice view filling the screen. It's nice. Nice conversation, nice thoughts, nice little bit of organization and building out the geometry of the scene. And I'm kind of looking forward to being able to shade all of this and maybe have some nice chrome reflections and nice concrete and blue shadows. And then the light and the water. It's going to be an interesting time. There's probably a bunch of details that I'm going to add only at the painting stage, or maybe I will not. We'll figure it out. It's going to be an exciting time. All right. Thank you very much for watching, listening, whatever. I hope you have enjoyed your time here. And goodbye. See you in the next one, whenever that happens, because I've been an increasingly busy man. But whenever that happens, it'll probably happen. I'll be back. Maybe. See ya. Good night.